It's difficult keeping Virat Kohli out of action. He's always making the headlines some way or the other. In the match against the Gujarat Titans, if it wasn't for his heroics with the bat, well, Virat Kohli definitely ended up making the headlines. This time though, for one of his gestures. It was an outstanding effort in the field from Virat Kohli, which is now making the headlines for the celebrations that then you saw from Virat Kohli. It was a direct hit, run out that of Shah Rukh Khan, which has sparked things on social media. In fact, everyone's asking and worried, Virat Kohli fans are worried right now if Virat Kohli will in fact be suspended or not, or could there be a possibility of Virat Kohli looking at a suspension this year. We're here to break it down for you and tell you what is it that Virat Kohli can possibly find himself guilty of, because the big question at the moment being, you've seen very recently Harshit Rana from the Kolkata Knight Riders being not just given a 100% fine, but also he had to miss one of the matches as well because of a repeat offence that we saw from him. On the same lines, we saw animated celebrations from Virat Kohli. Harshit Rana was found guilty of those overly animated celebrations, those send-offs that he had given a couple of times on one of the occasions. Remember, the first breach had come in that game against the Punjab Kings when he had given a send-off to Mayank Agarwal, and now fans are worried if Virat Kohli will also go down the same route and possibly be looking at a suspension. First, let's talk about the clause here that gets triggered as far as the code of conduct, the IPL player code of conduct is concerned. We're talking about Article 2.5, which pertains to using language, actions or gestures which disparage or which could provoke an aggressive reaction. The send-off that you saw from Virat Kohli yesterday was much on similar lines is what is being debated now on social media. But can Virat Kohli be suspended? That's the big question, and we will answer that for you right now. Now, clause 7.3, this is what you need to look at. And first things first, Virat Kohli, it is unlikely that you're looking at a suspension for Virat Kohli. Let's tell you that in two big reasons that we have for you. What is clause 7.3 of the code of conduct? It says that if a player has one previous offence, they face the imposition of a fine of between 50 to 100% of their applicable match fees and or a suspension of up to 2 matches. Now, this is the clause which gets activated, but remember, like it says, if there is a previous offence, which now takes us to point number 2, that this wasn't this was in fact the first time that Virat Kohli breached that particular section. We're talking about 2.3 now. Virat Kohli has been given a sanction in the past, but that was because of a disagreement that he had with the umpire. Remember, it happened during the match between RCB and KKR, because it was back then, it was the breach of Article 2.8 that Virat Kohli was found guilty of back then. This time around, it's breach of Article 2.5. So those are two different articles. What the code of conduct says is, and we're talking about Article 7, which has the details of how the code of conduct is going to be used in IPL. Now, that says if it happens twice, if an article is breached twice by the same athlete in the same season, that is when a suspension gets triggered. And Kohli's first breach of the season was under Article 2.8, which is showing dissent with the umpire's decision during a match. So, two different articles being breached by Virat Kohli. If there is a similar breach that we see from Virat Kohli, then you will possibly be looking at a suspension. But remember, this is where he was sanctioned. There was, and there still hasn't been any sanction for what we saw from Virat Kohli day before, which is this particular gesture. There is rather still no word from the IPL governing council if Virat Kohli has indeed been found in breach of Article 2.5 of the code of conduct. If at all there is, and if he is to repeat such a thing going forward as well, then Virat Kohli could be looking at a suspension. But then if not the case, then maybe not. But can he still be banned? Let's tell you that answer now. Now, if he shows dissent at an umpire's decision again, or for using provocative gestures, the latter will only happen if, like I said, if he is found guilty of the breach of Article 2.5 in this first instance that has happened. But because he's already been found guilty of dissenting with an umpire's decision, if that is to happen again, then Virat Kohli may as well be suspended. Now, if he breaches Article 2.2, which is abuse of cricket equipment or clothing, ground equipment or fixtures and fittings during a match, and Article 2.21 which pertains to conduct that brings the game into disrepute anytime in 2024. Now if this is to happen, and why these two articles have been listed over here very clearly is because Virat, we've seen in the past, there was this one time that he was upset with the way that he got dismissed. He was seen throwing his bat, he was also seen throwing away the dustbin as well, rather kicking the dustbin away, something on those lines that you saw from Virat Kohli in one of the matches as well. So he's been found guilty of breaching those articles already. If something on similar lines is to happen, that is breaching Article 2.21, breaching Article 2.22, then you could see Virat Kohli being handed a suspension up to 2 matches, and 100% match fee fine as well could be imposed on Virat Kohli. So Virat Kohli going forward needs to be careful of his conduct on the pitch.